Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Today, some more stuff that we're going to talk about. A couple things with a few of the new pals that I've kind of messed with a little bit. Weaponry and bases themselves as far as what I've been putting up with what I'm doing currently. But yes, with what we had did the other day, we decided to go ahead and take all of our oil bases and double each one of them, as we had discussed that is now possible. And if you guys want to know if that's possible, by all means, like I said, Power World Professional put out a video on it and I explained it a little bit different, possibly a little bit of an easier way to get a hold of it and get the second one onto the actual oil rig, or the actual oil pump onto the oil vein, for lack of a better word. I guess that's what you would call it. We did end up getting enough oil from that because I ended up falling asleep on stream yesterday for a little bit. So we ended up getting about 4,000 oil from those, from all of the ones around, which in turn allowed us to make about 809 plate steel, or plate steel plus steel. I'm going to call it PAL steel because I think that A should be moved. But nonetheless, that gave us a good bit of that. We also, with the new sulfur mine that we only got one of them going, we were to make about 16,000 rounds of the Gatling gun, which is really good. And with some of the leftover oil that I had, I did end up making the flamethrower and the grenade launcher. The grenade launcher is actually pretty cool. It's not too far off from the rocket salvo in damage. It's about like 1,000 off, maybe. Double check here. Oh, nope. This is 5,900. The grenade launcher itself, though, is at 3,000 even. So it's almost a 3,000 point difference, but you can fire 5 of these because that's what the magazine size is, and able to fire it a little bit more consistently as well, I think. The rocket salvo takes a minute to reload. This, like, you could just pop off round after round after round. So it is pretty good. I like it a lot. The flamethrower just looks menacing because it's huge. I haven't set anything on fire yet with it, so I haven't really got to mess with it too much, but it seems like it's fun. We'll check the damage out later today on stream when we go do our oil rig run. So if you guys want to come over for that information, by all means. One of the other things that we were discussing was these little dudes here, the Lululemons. I decided to put out quite a few of them over here just to kind of simulate of having like a maxed out version of one. So we have 9 of these guys out right now. No, I miscounted. 6, 7, 8. 8 of these guys out right now. And I had to end up putting up another food trough over here. I think I emptied. No, I didn't. So yeah, it produces pretty quickly and it does help out a lot with that. Oh, they might be eating this. Whoops. I forget that they can do that. I was just like, let me put this other food box here, and didn't even think about them eating the wheat. So yeah, it's producing pretty good as far as that goes. So probably a good suggestion to maybe max out a couple of these. If not, and you have the space to put them out, by all means, just grab a couple from at the new place and then just throw them out amongst your dudes. One thing that I did do is I cut most of them off from planting because you can only have but so many actually planting as far as all that stuff, and they were cutting my Lylene off, which is her job to plant stuff. So, which apparently I didn't cut all of their stuff off. I need to probably cut most of their stuff off and leave only like 2 to plant. Definitely take the vast majority of them off of this as well, because that's what I have the Frost Stallion knocked for. But we'll leave 2, but not these 2. We'll put these 2. Medicine, the other stuff, that's fine, whatever. So yeah, that should help out a pretty decent amount. Hawk. I was running low on Rushore hot dogs, so I'm happy that they came by. Go throw that on the kitchen. What? Well, I was gonna take care of that, and then that happened. Anyway, everyone needs to calm down. Getting kind of rowdy over here. I did have some people asking me specifically on the new raid what I think that we should be really bringing up as far as breeding to get the maximum efficiency out of it. We did a video not too long ago on the Sezaku Aqua, and some people are talking about using the Yormantide Ignis. Well, if it's any, or not the Ignis, but the Yormantide itself, but the Ignis Ignis and the Yormintide are like the exact same stats. I think one has like a hair bit more health, but even with hundreds across the board, I think the one that we did show, none of these guys are, there's one in here. There it is. With hundreds across the board and 30 plus to the Pal Souls, we're only at 1,004 health or defense. We do have 7,000 health for that, and then the attack power is pretty high. So the attack power is not really what we're looking at, though. The defense is what we're looking at, because without that defense, they get wrecked pretty quickly. So the Yormintide is also a dragon type, so he's dragon and water. And one thing that this in particular build is a dragon type. It's a dragon fire. So realistically, it should be taking maybe a neutral type of damage as well from the dragon, maybe even a lesser damage. But it being a water type and it being fire as well, it should take actually a significant lesser amount of damage. So this is a possible usage for this, but in my personal opinion, I'm gonna go with Sezuku Aquas. I don't know where my good ones are. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I boxed them or put them up in the tower somewhere. So yeah, I'm gonna be using Sezuku Aqua because it has a bit more defense. It's not that much more. Let's go see if we can find them. Aha. Yeah, here it is. It's not too much of a difference, but it's also a flying type, so I think it might be better for that. Just mainly for the flying type, and it has a smaller hitbox, I feel, because when we showed like the difference between Sezuku, the Yormintide Ignis, when we went against Frostallion, now given it is dragon and ice, but it's also fire, so it's taking normal damage, and this is straight water, so it's taking the same normal damage. And this one ended up surviving a little bit better, just basis solely on the simple fact that it had a smaller hitbox and was able to move a little bit better with it. Now, will I be riding this? No, we're going to be using Azarobi as my main mount, and then switching to Anubis to fight together with to apply dirt when he switches to electricity. Because those of you who didn't know, spoiler alert, he switches to electricity and heals back up about after he gets down to about like a fifth of health or something like that. I also went ahead and was talking about which pals I wanted to use for the ground side of it, and I've been breeding these guys right now, but the Menacing Terra might actually be the way to go with this, because the Menacing that I have here is setting at 1,300 defense, so survivability on this is really good, and that's only at a 68 for the IVs. Of course, this one is fully maxed out and it is at level 55, so that defense could play up a little bit better. But with this one, with the 99 defense and no stars and no points into the souls or anything, is at 926. So it might be closer than we think for that. And I think Pacifist, it's a minus attack. So, and this is not one that I'm using. I was just looking at the IVs and I wanted to see what we could get out of that. So attack IV here being up enough on it is at like 683. So after we get that up a lot, that's going to be pretty good. So yeah, 684, somewhere around there. But yeah, Azarobi, this is the one that I will be using with Swift on there to get around a little bit better. His attacks really they're pretty easy to dodge for the most part, but you just need some sort of cannon fodder to go against him, I guess, first run through, and something to kind of bring him down a bit more. Because I did go over there and go against him one time with just like a normal set, because I figured it'd be like the Bella Noir fight and just throw out a couple things and watch him disintegrate. But nope, he is a lot more tankier than that. He takes a lot of damage. He's only at like 500k to 500 and something k. I can't remember what it was right offhand. So we're going to breed up like a really good one of these guys and see what we can get as far as damage wise out of that. And if anything, I think you breed him with a Menacing and you can get the Menacing Terror. Now I could be wrong about that. Let's take a little peeksy over here. Yes. Actually, that is the way to do it. So it's actually a good thing that I'm breeding these up first, because we have managed to get Earth Emperor on them as well as Legend, Ferocious, and Musclehead. So that's what we'll be running off of them. And right now we're just going for the better IVs. So those of you who don't really know about breeding IVs, always get the passives first. That's the way that I've always done it, because I've tried to do the reverse and get the IVs first. And then when you start breeding on the passives, I think there's probably something linked to the passives when those IVs are on there. So go for the passives first. Once you get the perfect passives, then you can start breeding for IVs. So anything that's higher, just start putting it together with it. 4 and 1 doesn't work bad. they're looking for 2 and 2, but 3 and 1 works just as well. It's not perfect, but it works. But your best bet is 2 and 2. So 2 of the passives that you want on either one of them. And when it comes to IVs and breeding that stuff, just try to get them as high as you can. Because that's how I ended up getting my Yormantides, which are almost all 100s, or have at least a couple hundreds on them. They have at least 100 on them. But I did have like 6 perfects, I think it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. But yeah, all in all, from 83 to 100, it's not too big of a difference, but it's enough of a difference that you would not want to or need to. As long as you're above 80, I believe, with your IVs, I think you're good against anything. It's not such a big difference from 80 to 100 that it's necessary to go to 100. But if you have 80s or above, even 75 or above on them, then I think you'll be all right. This right here is my Quartz base. And yes, we have 46 pals out right now. A lot of them are the Blazimuts that I had for my Bella Noir fight that I built up, because when you're doing overworld mining like we've discussed in the past, the actual Musclehead passive doesn't slow them down in this instance. And when you have a bunch of them, might as well put them all out. They were doing nothing in the box at the moment, so I put them to work. And then we basically followed that up behind with a bunch of transporters. And then we got a couple dudes doing wood as well, just to keep the trees out of the way so stuff doesn't get stuck all the time. But yeah, with this working the way that it was, and I got it set up last night, we did end up getting about, we'll say like 12,000, give or take. We'll take, because we have a 999 and 1851 right here, so I haven't really made anything else with them. Depressed, go fix him. You're supposed to be making everybody happy. That is one thing that I would suggest. If you do have a bunch of work speed pals, and you do every once in a while have the problem of one getting depressed or a fracture or something like that, get you one of these guys, throw him out there. He's good. He's good for that because he has a lower to sanity depletion. I wouldn't mind maxing him out and seeing if we can like avoid the sanity depletion completely. I do have now breeding pairs of these guys. They've dropped so much for me that I got now 2 females and 2 males, so we could start breeding these guys just to see what they do. To be honest though, I'm not thinking that any of these guys are going to be really worth it to do because of their lack of the lack of the ability to be able to put on anything else through breeding, because with the 3 that come from the moon stuff, they cannot be bred out of anything and they only breed to themselves. So there's no real way to put legend or divine dragon, which would be on this one, on them. And same with the moon lady. So again, that's not going to stop us. We will end up getting some good IV'd ones and try to put on the best stuff that we can just to see what we could do, which I'm thinking Serenity might be a good alternative just because of the cooldown rate. We might be trading out some stuff that does have ferocious for that cooldown rate. It's a 20% loss, but again, if I'm not mistaken, Serenity, I think Serenity is the one where it's the cooldown reduction, if I'm not mistaken. But this also leans into this doggo. The fact that you can't get the legend or lucky is not great, of course, as we discussed, but with other passives that have come out, say that you want to stack up noble and you get one of these guys with noble on them, and then you want to sell and stack up 5 pals with noble on them, then you could sell for a high price and get some pretty good gold out of that. Or if you're looking for speed perks such as swift, infinite stamina, runner, so on and so forth, and then if you are able to breed, you could breed in legend with them, so you could find those a little bit easier with that. So he's not completely useless, but at the same time, I was excited, but then kind of got not excited the fact that he can't do that. So it would help. It helps with breeding, but it doesn't take breeding out of the subject. So it's kind of meh. Because yeah, noble actually does a 5% increase to that, to sales prices. So if you do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, it'd be a 25% increase to sales prices. So yeah, you could get where a 999 stack of legendary balls sells for about 4.5 million, with a 4th increase, which at 25% would give you an extra like mil and 200 grand. So you could get 5.8, I guess, if my math's correct, which it probably is not, but 5.7, 5.8 million off of selling a full stack if you had a bunch of those guys behind you. So that is a good thing to do. And then I had somebody else suggest to me that I need to do a Forrest Gump version 2 where I put, instead of nimble on them, put infinite stamina, which I probably will end up doing, because nimble is only a 10% increase in movement speed, so taking it away is not that big a deal, especially when you get a 50% increase to movement speed or to stamina, if I'm not mistaken. So basically at this point, we've already kind of guessed that the next video will be a is it worth it on yield Knocklem, because he's what we're breeding right now. So, and we will probably continue with that and do Exo, whatever the name is, or Xenogard. Did I actually pronounce that correctly? Let me know in the comments. Nonetheless, we ended up getting the new guys, but not on this world, unfortunately. I was going back through memory lane and showing some of the people in stream my older worlds, and so happened a meteor dropped out of the sky, and it was those two guys, or the one that I'm missing, but they dropped in a 2. Now, right off what he does, it doesn't seem like it's that great, but we'll still be testing them as well when it comes down to it. But yeah, other than that, you guys like my content, drop a sub. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like, please. It helps with the algorithm. And drop a comment down below on your thoughts of the raid. Who do you think will be the best lineups here for your rideable and your base pals? Other than that, keep your willy washed, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.